Welcome back. Welcome back. You are listening to Whissel Wednesdays here on KCBQ 1170 The Answer. My name is Kyle Whissel, your host with Whissel Realty, joined by Mr. JC Agajanian, coastal specialist with Whissel Realty.
Yeah.
Looking super dapper, suited up for the microphone today. I love it.
Hey, man, I got a couple appointments, and I happen to be on the radio, too.
We appreciate you looking good for the microphone today, JC.
I'm way underdressed, man. I might have a tie in the car. I'm going to run out and get it.
Well, you're got Jason over here. Yeah. You know, we put his
when you're the president
down
of Carson Chargers, you get to you can trust whatever.
Jason Hall, Team Home Loans, CarsonChargers.com. Representing.
That's funny. You got me jumping in on him now. You know, before I was defending him, now I'm already jumping in on him.
Love it. And then the man I want to talk to right now, Mr. Roger Faulkner, RBD House Buyers. Roger.
Hey.
I'd love to have you here, man.
Hey, you know, it's a pleasure to be here, Kyle.
Is it weird? You used to have your own show.
Right.
Now you're on somebody else's show. It's always weird when you're on the other side.
Yeah, you know it is. But you know what? The reason I quit doing a show, I realized I'm a better investor flipper than I was a radio host.
Love it.
And so I like being actually on this side, you know, even though it is different and weird.
Love it.
When I'm on your side, you know, there's the pressure. You got to come up with questions. You got to get conversation. I know what you're going through.
Cannot have dead air.
You can't have dead air. You can't go, oh, you know.
No ums, no
You're doing a great job so far, man. Good job.
Appreciate it. Well, you're making it easy. You're getting nice and involved. You can see the previous host bug is still in you a little bit.
Right,
so you're coming with good
questions. I've always
questions.
enjoyed the radio. I just don't like the pressure of having to put on the show. So
I agree.
Thanks for having me.
Definitely. So like you said, you are more focused now on the investor flipping business. So let's talk about that. What's going on with that business in San Diego? I mean, you've been in it for...
yeah.
I mean, you've been in the business for how long now?
I guess we're 6 years.
Okay, and that's a long time.
That is.
Because many
I
people
feel like an old
come
man.
and go, right? Everybody
Exactly.
watches the shows on HGTV and DIY Network and all that, and they want to become a house flipper, and they go and they try to flip one house. They freak out. They bring a partner on. They lose money, and they're gone. So you guys have been in it for 6 years, which shows some staying power. And you've been through, you know, almost a full cycle.
You know,
now.
it's funny. We've been through some ups and downs. I tell people 6 years, probably six different cycles of the market, but it is not that many, but it seems like it because of what we've been through in the last few years. So it's almost like you take a 20-year period and you condensed it in that 6 years, right?
Yeah. So talk about the journey that you guys have kind of been on. I mean, how did you guys get started? What got you into the business? And, you know, what are these cycles that you've been through and where are we at right now?
Sure. You know, it's 2009. For some reason, I woke up in probably January of 2009. I said, you know what? Real estate's at the bottom. You know, and I tried several different business ventures and nothing really took hold. And I said, real estate's at the bottom. I'm going to get in real estate and ride the wave back up. And so that was the beginning. You know, we were, back then it was a huge REO market. You were there. And so we got in and we figured it out and got some investors and started rolling. And that was REOs. You know, REOs got us our start, you know, the bottom of the market. And I was correct in predicting, you know, it was a good time to get in, right?
Absolutely. And if you're listening, REO stands for real estate owned, and it's typically real estate owned by a bank that's been foreclosed on. So REO, bank owned, foreclosure, all are synonymous.
Right. Roger, you probably had a great time because you could be real inexperienced, make mistakes, and still come out smelling like a rose back then.
Right. So that, you know, that definitely was true. You know, we made a lot of mistakes. That's why we, you know, 3 guys at the time, you know, started doing this. Had no experience whatsoever in real estate. You know, one partner had it was a contractor, which, you know, we
That's
made
huge.
less mistakes.
You got to have that, right?
We had to have that.
Got to have a contractor
but, you know, as far
on your
as,
team.
you know, buying and selling and everything else, we made every mistake. That's why I'm not a multimillionaire today. You know, even though we flipped so many properties, is because we made so many mistakes. But we were allowed to because of the market conditions, just like you said. And so as you know, and you can say this as much as I am, we went from the REO market for a couple of years, you know, just slinging properties, and you got into short sale market, right?
Right.
And short sales were predominant for a couple of years. And then, you know, we'd say it was kind of the same thing, but, you know, a little bit different, just how you do the transactions. So we had to evolve into that. And then over the last year and a half, you know, we've really seen that market dry up as well.
Right.
And now it's, I've never been in a traditional market, but I think we're, you know, I think you've been around longer than me, Kyle, in real estate, but I think we're getting into a traditional market here.
Definitely.
You know, everything's more, we're starting to buy conventional sales. And then guys like me looking for distressed property or looking for the normal distresses, we're buying a lot of probate, estate sales, some bankruptcy, some divorces. It's really kind of spread across the board now as far as the distress goes. So
definitely,
I'm out there, you know, I used to be able to call like 5 brokers in town and make deals happen. Right. Now I got to call 500.
Right, because the inventory is more spread out. Like, I mean, JC used to be a big REO agent as well, and during the REO days, if you weren't an REO or bank-owned, you know, agent, you were struggling. You know, it was tough to be in this business. So the people who had the REO listings from the banks, they really controlled the market.
They ruled the market back then.
Right. And I mean, there were guys that had, 500 listings at one time.
Right.
Where in San Diego right now, I don't know if there's an agent that has 50 listings.
Exactly. So that was exactly my point, And I used to be our only acquisition guy back in the day, REOs, and as we morphed into short sales. And I could easily do part-time 5, purchases a month plus.
Right.
Just being one, and that was just part-time. I'm helping my other partners do their part of the business. And now it takes me, 3 guys to do what I used to do because they got to make so many more phone calls. They got to look at so many more properties than we used to.
Love it. Again, you're listening to Whissel Wednesdays here on KCBQ 1170. We're talking with Roger Faulkner, RBD House Buyers. So what are you seeing in the market now? You're saying that more of the deals now, you're not buying short sales, you're not buying REO. If somebody's listening to the show and there's going to be 2 people listening, some that want to get into the flipping business and they want to become flippers themselves, but there might be people listening to the show right now that have a house that might be a good house for you guys to come in and buy, and you might be able to help them out of a rough situation. So let's talk to those 2 people.
Which one first?
Let's go ahead with the people that want to get into flipping.
Sure. So if you want to get into flipping right now is the time.
Wait, you did hear him laugh, right?
Well, because we said before when I started, I had no experience. And then luckily, because of market conditions, I was able to make a lot of mistakes. Right now, more than ever, you just got to get your numbers right. If you don't have experience, you need to get a team around you. Get a good, solid contractor. Get yourself an agent like, Kyle Whissel that knows the market's been around it, has even done flips himself. Get yourself surrounded with the people that can help you out from making those mistakes.
So you want an agent, you want a contractor, what else you want?
A hard money lender. Hard money lenders are great for that because they're going to tell you this is truly the value. This is what I'll lend you, and they're going to stop you from overpaying, which is the number one mistake. You get desperate for a deal. I mean, it's just like you ever go to like any kind of auction. It doesn't matter what it is, real estate or not. People just get in a frenzy. And so what's going to happen, you're going to be bidding on a property. You really want that deal so bad. Your agent's going to come back and say, hey, it's 5,000 more, you can get this deal. Well, that 5,000 might have made him break that deal. I don't know how many times in the last 6 years I've walked away from a deal because they wanted $1,000 more. Right. You got to be able to walk away.
Walk away. You got to have that number.
You got to have that. They got to have that number. And say this is where I draw the line in the sand. I won't go past that. And I tell you what, we've walked out of escrow with so many checks that were like $4,000 or $5,000. If I'd win another, notch up the belt, I would have lost money on those projects. So I mean, you got to be. It's like any industry, or even like in poker, they say it's not the hands you play, it's the ones you throw away. Well, same thing in real estate. It's not the ones you flipped, it's the ones you walked away from flipping. And so that's the number one thing. If you're going to get into it, get yourself a team. You got to be very solid on your numbers, and then you can do it. You can get into this thing.
Love it.
And what's a normal return? So for somebody's looking to flip, what do you think is a successful flip, Roger? I mean, you've done a lot of flips. So what's a
it's a loaded question. If you're using your own money, then you can say, okay, I can squeeze that or not squeeze it. If you're leveraging money, and almost everybody does this business, leverages money, whether it's hard money or private money, your friends or family money or stuff. So you got to count that money as a cost of money. We used to go for 10% of sales price as our target profit, and we're probably around 8%.
Yeah, I was going to say that has to be down now.
Yeah, it's just around 8%. I mean, there's guys out there willing to go. They're using their own money. That they might be going as low as 5 or 6%, which to me is ridiculous because you really open yourself up for losing money.
Right. If the market just slows down, if you uncover a problem that you didn't think was existing already in the house, that 5%'s gone.
That's gone.
And now it's your money.
Right.
And you might be living in that house.
Right. And I guess at the end of the day, it's better for you to lose your own money than lose your investors' money.
Right.
I've done both. I've lost my own money. I lost my own money and investors' money, but it was easier for me to cry about my money than have to pay back out of the next project an investor that I lost money for. So
awesome. And so if somebody's listening to the show and maybe they've got a house that they need to sell, because I know that you guys are coming in a lot of situations helping people out that are in rough spots, like you mentioned, probate, trust sales, divorces, all that kind of stuff. So if somebody's listening to the show and they might be in a little bit of a rough situation, what can you guys at RBD House Buyers do to help them out?
Sure. The biggest thing, if you go directly to us, and I don't want to alienate agents or whatever, but obviously if you cut out agents, you're cutting out a lot of costs. So if you've got a property out that's really beat up, it's not going to go to a conventional buyer, so you're going to have to come to a cash buyer eventually anyway, whether you're listed with an agent or not. So if you come directly to RBD House Buyers, we're going to walk the property. We're going to tell you what's wrong with it. We're going to tell you if you can go conventional route and make more money, or if you're better off getting a cash. If you got to move fast, it's better to come and get a cash buyer versus conventional, because there's no things like requests for repairs, appraisal contingencies, loan contingencies. All these things go out the window with us. We're just buying your house cash. as is, no matter what.
And
the
how long is that
are.
period? I mean, normally on a conventional, it's 30 to 60 days.
Right. So really with us, we can buy a house as fast as the paperwork gets done. And when I say paperwork, it's really title reports and escrow. I walked the property on Sunday and we shook hands on it, and they came in yesterday. We signed a contract, and they said, can you do it in a week? And I'm like, yep. If title gives me the prelim, we'll be closed in a week. And this situation was a house. It's in Lemon Grove, really beat up. It's has been renovated since 1955 when it was built, and so you're not going to have a regular buyer go in that house and buy that house, say, I fall in love with it. Those houses are perfect for us. So they called me up. I walked the property, and we made a deal. And so if you're out there and you got a property that's just really old and it hasn't been renovated
really needs to be
for 40
updated,
years,
fixer-upper,
or it's got, who knows, you got plumbing problems, sewer problems, any kind of problems, that's the properties we're really looking for. If it's really clean, even if it was renovated, 20 years ago and it's really clean and somebody could move in it today, it's probably not a property for us. It's going to be the ones that, nobody else is going to buy, or the ones we're going to buy.
Okay.
Love it. You were just solving problems for the people of San Diego, Roger.
Actually, it should be. I know, like in the past, because of when the market appreciated before the crash, a lot of people are just putting properties under contract, turning right around, selling the same property without fixing it up. Those days are gone. Properties don't appreciate that fast anymore. The guys out there flipping right now are not the guys who are taking advantage of people. They're the guys who are really doing a service to the community. So it should be a win-win. We should take an old, ugly property in the street. All the neighbors love us because we take the crappiest property on that street. We renovate it, make it the best property on the street. And
so it's no longer the eyesore.
It's no longer the eyesore, and all of a sudden, the neighborhood, the street values come up because of that.
Yeah, the worst house is now the highest priced.
We actually competed for a house, you and I, for a house in Poway.
Oh, okay.
You remember the house?
The hoarder house.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I mean, that
hoarder
was
house.
Amazing.
Right.
Want to make sure we pronounce that right.
That was a fun one, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we walked through this house, and it was, you almost had to shimmy sideways to get through this small little pathway through this house to get to
Did
beds.
you see the 2020 episode on that?
Oh, yeah, we saw it. You guys were on TV.
And it was already clean afterwards because, when we got it and we had guys go in there, and then
you
2020
couldn't have fit
contacted.
A camera crew in there.
They actually contacted us after we'd already started, doing some work, and I'm like, well, I got a hoarder house. That's what they wanted.
Right.
But we already started cleaning up, so we had to put garbage back in there. It still didn't do a service because you're right. There was really just alleyways through the house when we walked it the first time.
One of my first REO listings ever was like that, right over in the college area. I mean, you could, even the pathways were about a foot up off the ground, and all the other crap was
right.
I mean, it was just
it was crazy. So I mean, that's where there's sometimes the media portrays flippers as being a negative thing, but when you can come into a house like that where it honestly is the ugliest house in the entire neighborhood, it smells, there's all kinds of stories of what's going on in that house, around that house, when you can come in there and be the person who not only removes that situation but now takes that ugly duckling and churns that into a beautiful property and puts a nice family in there that's going to take good care of it. I mean, you really are churning neighborhoods around.
And then the follow-up to that story, too, Kyle, is that the people lived in there were hoarders. But once we took over the house, they moved to Colorado, and they're not hoarders anymore. Yeah. They actually live in a regular house. And
they got a fresh start.
So people, sometimes they get in this mental funk. I've seen it all the time with short sales and REOs, this mental funk. And then once you take them out of that situation, their lives just improve.
That's awesome.
And so it's really good to see.
So now they can actually see.
Yeah, they can see their floors.
They can see their floors. They don't want to get back in the situation they got into before.
When 2020 did the follow-up with the lady, she said, oh, I can actually sweep floors now. My daughter can see the floors, and I'm like, that was awesome.
Yeah, nice. So did you guys need to actually make a profit on that one, Roger?
Yeah.
All right. It was a lot of work, but there was some money to be made. Awesome. Well, we're going to head to a break, guys. If you want to connect with Roger, if you have a house that you think might be, a good candidate for Roger to come in, make you a quick cash offer so you can get out of a rough situation, give us a call, shoot us a text, 619-663-SELL, 619-663-7355. I will connect you with Roger. He can help you through that process, get you out of a rough situation. We're going to head to a break. When we get back, we're going to talk to Mr. J.C. Agajanian, coastal specialist, Whissel Realty, best dressed guy in the room. You are listening to Whissel Wednesdays here on KCBQ 1170.